Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have our education grant finalists from our inaugural year, Chinquapin Prep, joining us today to give an update and an overview. I'm Jessica Graham. I'm the co-founder of Impact 100 Houston. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dorothy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Dorothy Scrutchin, Executive Director of Chinquapin Preparatory School, and I'm really delighted to be here today.
Yes, thanks so much for having us today. I'm Laura Hips, Chinquapin's Development Director.
So today we're going to spend some time talking about Chinquapin and just kind of letting everyone get to know a little bit more about us. I'm a longtime family member of Chinquapin. I met my husband in the mid-90s, and he told me about this little boarding school east of Houston where he graduated from. And he spoke about living in the dorms, serving as crew captains, and about the education he received. And he was just so excited about it. And never in my life had I ever experienced someone being so excited about their high school. So nothing that he was saying was making sense to me until I actually attended a Chinquapin graduation ceremony. A Chinquapin graduation is like none other. When we have our graduations, our families are overjoyed with feelings of emotions because their children have realized their dreams of attending college, but also there's tears of sorrow because they know that their Chinquapin students are leaving our campus. When you attend your first Chinquapin graduation, that is it. And truly, I was sold. 15 years ago, former directors of the over 30 years, they were retiring. And so they actually sought out Michael to come to Chinquapin. They asked him to come back and to uphold the traditions and the missions of the school. And after a long conversation and several family meetings, we decided it was time to leave Fredericksburg, Texas, where I'm from, and head to Highlands. So as a longtime educator, I've taught pre-K3 all the way through to adults. I've been teaching for over 23 years. But in all of that time in my teaching, there's nothing that compares to Chinquapin. Once I became a part of the faculty, I understood the true meaning of a Chinquapin family, and we actually have a term for it, Chinqua family, and it transformed my educational path.
As Dorothy mentioned, our mission is to provide a rigorous college prep education in a supportive environment to 6th through 12th graders from Houston's under-resourced communities and schools. You see that on the slide. Our aim is to produce a Chinquapin graduate who is a college-ready adult, a responsible community member, and an effective communicator. We were founded in 1969 by Bob Moore, a beloved English teacher at St. John's School, who believed in education equity, which was a relatively new and radical concept at the time. Chinquapin started as a boarding school for 16 7th grade boys. Today, we have a student body of roughly 130 boys and girls who all have the opportunity to board beginning in 7th grade. Since our founding, more than 500 students have graduated, gone to college, and become community leaders. And here are some of our illustrious alumni. Chinquapin uniquely prepares each graduate to thrive independently and collaboratively at and beyond their four-year university. We're the state's only private college prep boarding school that supplements its comprehensive instruction with leadership and character building responsibilities. And Dr. Scrutchin will talk about how we do this in a few minutes. With the addition of the Bob and Maxine Moore Wellness Program, which Impact 100 Houston helps to fund, our students now have direct access to tools to support their mental well-being so they can stay on track academically. And this is critical to us to provide a supportive environment. I'll share more about that and what we've done with Impact 100's funds in a few minutes, but first, I want to share a bit more about who we are. The school is almost exclusively privately funded, and all students are on sliding scale scholarships. More than 80% of our students qualify for free or reduced price lunch, and 96% are students of color. Students attend Chinquapin because they know they want to go to college. and Chinquapin is laser focused on helping them get there and thrive. Chinquapin students come from about 59 different Houston zip codes. And I just looked at this yesterday because HISD came out with its new grading, how it rates its schools. And truly, most of those 59 different zip codes, they are zoned to schools that received Ds and Fs. So we really are providing opportunities that these students wouldn't have if they stayed at their neighborhood schools. And the ultimate result of that is that all of our graduates are accepted into college. It's a graduation requirement, in fact. Not only are they accepted into college, but they earn big money. The class of 2022, for example, earned nearly $1 million in college scholarship and aid. 86% of those kids who go to college will graduate from college in 4 years. I myself didn't graduate in 4 years, so I find it quite impressive. And all of them, regardless if it takes them 4 years or more, are contributors to society and catalysts for change, for positive change in their communities.
So Laura told you about who we are, and I'm going to tell you about what we do. Here are some of our heavy hitters. These are things that really differentiate us from other schools. We are in a 50+ acre campus that mirrors a small college campus. We have 6th through 12th grade students, boarding and day options, and resident faculty that wear lots of hats. Our students and our faculty live on campus. We share the same buildings and we're all together. During this time, we have leadership courses. Every student from 6th through 12th grade takes a leadership course. These are opportunities that are actually built into our curriculum. We have times when students have to have really big focus on their educational path because these leadership courses are explaining to them what areas that we're focusing on. So from 6th through 12th grade, you can see there's specific implementation of student leadership opportunities. We also have chores. Chores is part of our daily structure. Indoor and outdoor chores. These have leadership opportunities as well. What this does is it reduces our overhead because Chinquapin does not have a maintenance crew. Think of Chinquapin like a college experience. It has bumpers or scaffolding. This is so that we can support students in a whole child education. We're an independent school that has a lot of flexibility. This flexibility allows us to build our days and we can provide a broad and deep learning environment. There are many opportunities, as you can see, for students to lead, and we involve students in every fabric of our school. There's long days at Chinquapin. We consider education as our students' jobs. It is their job. From 7:55 to 5:30, they have 9 classes that includes chores. And again, chores is our foundational to our school. It's our mission, quid pro quo. And it stands for something, something, something for something. We always want our students to give back. We have a service-minded community. So on campus, you can see these are what our students have actually said. There's a sense of ownership and buy-in. If they don't do it, no one else will. And so it gives us a sense of school pride. If students see trash on the grass, they pick it up because they know if they don't pick it up, then someone else will have to, because they know that all crews work inside of buildings, they work outside, indoors and outdoors. Our campus during our chores time is the time where we come together as a community and we work to make sure that campus is looking the way that we need it to look. We really believe that leadership takes commitment, and our students know that they should ask for help. They should stand firm for what they know is right, even if they are the only ones standing that way. They take responsibilities for their action, and they know that they should be accountable even when no one is watching. So students who attend Chinquapin get firsthand leadership experience daily. They learn to assist one another, navigate relationships and crucial conversations, They even develop time management techniques. They enhance their communication skills with peers and adults, and they become well-rounded individuals who understand the importance of giving back.
Thanks, Dorothy. So every aspect of a Chinquapin education is intentional. The remote campus location, we really want students who want to be here and who are willing to travel to campus. They leave their familiar surroundings, they leave their neighborhood schools, and they leave their families. Students are focused on what it takes to get to the goal. Similarly, for the teachers who reside on campus, Chinquapin is their life. As one faculty member said recently, we are required to be all in. And this is really not an understatement. A Chinquapin faculty or staff member regularly has a day that runs much longer than a teacher in a traditional environment. Days can start as early as 6 o'clock. That's their work day, not when they're getting up. Driving a bus to retrieve non-boarding students across the city, or monitoring 7 a.m. breakfast for boarding students. Work days may end as late as 11:15 when it's lights out for the boarding school, high school students. Chinquapin is a small, self-contained campus and is run on a real minimal shoestring budget. Every community member is active and committed to controlling costs and maximizing resources. This not only lessens our overhead, as Dorothy mentioned, but it also underscores the sense of ownership each community member has for this campus and reinforces the idea of being a service-minded community, a service-minded community member that will stay with them long after they leave the Chinquapin bubble. Now, while we've been steadily providing academics throughout the decades, we've provided thoughtful leadership and support for our students, we knew we needed to do more. Our students were thriving academically, and they were involved in all the extracurricular activities. We need them to do it all. Chinquapin, realized though that they were missing something, and what it was access to professional mental health counseling. And that this is critical to their well-being and their ability to meet the rigorous demands placed on them by Chinquapin. And thus was born the Bob and Maxine Moore Wellness Program. This comprehensive care program was established after an anonymous donation was made by someone who saw the great value of providing this invaluable service to our community. Before these funds, and then with the injection of before the injection of the additional funding from Impact 100, there had never been adequate funding to support and address these needs. So we could only provide cursory and reactive support to students in need. Fortunately, the program was established just before the onset of the pandemic, which was so fortuitous for us. And it indeed was a lifeline to our students. It still is. Results from this past school year include full-time access to a licensed psychotherapist who provided behavioral health consultations, individual counseling sessions, parental consultations, and the creation of a 504 plan for students with disabilities. We also have a curriculum with Baylor College of Medicine to provide monthly counseling sessions to faculty and students. And the counselor was able to provide consistent weekly counseling to students throughout the year. These additions have been a huge asset to our community members. We saw dramatic decreases in anxiety and depression, and an uptick in all members of the community, students, teachers, and students' family members taking advantage of the referral process for additional mental health services. For Chinquapin, this is a big win. Thanks to these funds from Impact 100, we have a dedicated source of money for the wellness program. We no longer have to compromise care due to financial constraints. More students, faculty, and students' families receive the care and resources they need to remain healthy and productive community members. We are grateful to all the Impact 100 Houston members for your confidence in us and for your support for our program and for giving us today's opportunity to share our progress.
As you can probably tell, Chinquapin just exudes from our pores. Anytime you talk to a Chinquapin family member, a Chinqua family member, we all are just so passionate about our Chinquapin experience, because we know that Chinquapin changes the trajectory of our students' lives. It provides the platform for our students to have a broad and deep educational journey with the understanding that they are going to go off into the world with the tools that they need to be successful as leaders, because we want Chinquapin graduates to leave with the understanding that it is important for them to go out and lead in the communities that they serve. So we are so excited and grateful for this opportunity. Thank you. Are there questions?
I have a couple questions. I'm not sure if others do as well. One of them is around teacher retention. So we keep hearing the buzzwords, you know, in the media where there's a teacher shortage. I'm seeing it at one of my children's schools. Have y'all been impacted by that?
Absolutely, we have been impacted by that. When we talked about it a little bit earlier, when a Chinquapin teacher comes to campus and they become part of the faculty, they are not just committed to teaching from 8:30 to 3:30. They are committed to teaching, living on campus, and being part of the Residence Life program as well. So when Laura was talking about an early morning to a late evening, it's an all-consuming experience. So we did have some large overturn from last year, but we were able to secure 97% of our teachers right away. And so currently we have one spot open that we are still, we've been working with a substitute network. And so we have a long-term sub in place. But whenever we're having those conversations and negotiating, we do have to say that it's not your typical when the bell rings, close the door, lock it, and then you're off campus. When you come to Chinquapin, you are part of the family and you are living inside of the community where you work.
That's great, thank you. It looks like there were a couple of questions in the chat as well. I'm not sure, do you want me to read them too, or can you see the?
Yes, please read them, I can't see them.
Okay, the first one is, how can we support the school or the students? So what else can Impact 100 Houston members do to support you all?
I'll speak up. I don't wear as many hats as the faculty, but one hat that I do wear aside from my development director hat is to direct the mentor program. We are currently looking for mentors for our students. I've been working with the mentors who supported our seniors last year to see if they'd like to come back on and help our juniors, because we provide mentors to our juniors and our seniors. But if there are people who would like to mentor, that is a great way to see firsthand what happens at Chinquapin. We don't ask that you spend a lot of time on campus, so it's really flexible in terms of how much you can give. We try to pair a student with a mentor who may have a similar interest or has a career that the student is interested in pursuing. We certainly, try to pair students who identify as one gender with a mentor who also identifies that same gender, but it is not always possible. And if it works for the student and the mentor, we will, we are flexible. That is one way. We do have a substitute teacher program. Dorothy mentioned that, we pay an agency to help us with that. But if people have knowledge in core areas and they are willing to give their time, we'd love to have that. There are always financial ways to support the school. But one thing I heard from our student government advisor the other day was just having money so that the student government, when they meet the team, that they could have like pizza, or we could get t-shirts for the student government. Little things like that where, you know, people contribute a couple $100 here or there. For our small school, it goes a long way. Dorothy, I don't know if you have anything to add about how Impact 100 can support the school or students.
Yes, this year since the last, 2.5, 3 years is a time when we are all actually back on campus. So the theme for this year is bringing the community back together. So this year we plan on hosting a lot more campus-wide events. And so like Laura said, the donations of even small increments will really help us to be able to impact the community right away. We are having a fall celebration, like a fall fair, and where each grade level will be able to have small fundraisers and host sort of like a little tent and a fundraiser for them, but also throughout the year, our students would like to be able to have more events where they're going off campus together as a school. Basically trying to reintroduce the students as a school-wide body going out into the community. So that's really our focusing on bringing the community back together and hosting events so that everyone can have fellowship together.
That's great. And I'll make sure to include that in our newsletter. If you have any additional information y'all want to send me, please do that. It'll go out on September 1st or around then. So I'll put it in. Another question we have in the chat, well, actually a follow-up question to that first. Is there anything specifically around mental health and sort of keeping the program going or supporting that in an additional way, or is that currently funded in a way that you're pretty secure for this year?
We do need additional funds. As we stated, we are still working with the Baylor College of Medicine and our resident faculty psychotherapist, Dr. Mia Johnson. But as we all know, mental health is a top priority, and without funding, we are unable to continue to service in the way that we need to. The goal that I've been working on for the past 3 years is to have a licensed school counselor who is on staff. And so that is still a big goal for me and for the campus in order to do that. Because the services that we are providing now have been really great, but we would like to, instead of having to outsource that, to actually have a hired school counselor on campus who would be part of the staff.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question from the chat. Do you offer college level classes such as AP or dual credit?
Yes, we have a full AP program, and our students start taking pre-AP classes in middle school. And then once they're sophomores, they can start building up their APs. We have over 11 APs just within our small student body. Like Laura said, our classes, we only have 130 students. And so it is a requirement for our students to get a distinguished diploma to have APs. It is part of the program. In some grades, they don't have an option of another course that's not an AP. You're either in an honors course or an AP course.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else on the phone have any, or on the Zoom have any questions?
I have a question, and I'm sorry if I missed this. I was a little late to joining the call today, but I am just curious, how did you find Impact 100?
I got an invitation, a LinkedIn invitation from Jessica to connect with her. And then I found out about Impact 100 that way. I also have friends whose kids went to elementary school with my kids who are now Impact 100 members. And I had never even heard of the organization at all. And so to me, it's something that I've been involved with in a different capacity, but where women come together to help other women, or organizations that really need a woman's eye for detail and a caring heart. And so what really drew me, in addition to the fact that it was women led and women run and women members, was how diverse the group is. I find that it's reflexive of the Houston community. And so I went to a couple of happy hours that Impact 100 had a few years ago. It must have been pre-pandemic. My timeline is so skewed, but I really was so pleased to see that there was such a wide range of people who were drawn to be part of Impact 100. And I knew, like, even if Chinquapin, wasn't chosen, that just the fact that there were eyeballs on our school from such a broad group of people, that it could help us, regardless of the funding coming in.
Great. Thank you.
I have another question. I know that when we first gave you the grant, there were a lot of COVID changes. I'm just curious, you said now everybody's back at campus. Have y'all fully returned to normal? What is your state of normalcy now?
Well, not fully returned to normal in the sense of, we still have, our hand sanitizing stations. We still have social distancing. This year, though, masks are optional for our students. In last year, we were mandated masks throughout the entire year, and our boarding students, because they are living together in close quarters, all of our boarding students have to be fully vaccinated, and anybody who's in the resident life team needs to be fully vaccinated. So slight changes that got some cheers on the first day of school of being mask optional. I truly get a sense that students are excited about being able to all be together. A major change that the students were really excited about is we have an all school lunch now, instead of it being separated between middle school and high school. Our high school students really like their experience when they get to, have conversations with our middle schoolers and get to know them better. And we actually have a system called Chinquapin, where our older students mentor our younger students. And, in years past, they were unable to find a time when they could actually get together. So this year, because we have all school lunch, they will utilize that time for their Chinquapin system that has already been created. So that is the major change that students are really excited about. Even though, you're standing in line a little bit longer, you have the time because you get to see both middle schoolers and high schoolers all eating lunch together.
The energy that has returned to campus is such a welcome change. Just people are thrilled to be there. Faculty, staff, students, family members, this is why Chinquapin was created, was for us to be together. And COVID, I know you've heard this over and over and over again, but COVID took that away. And it's what holds our mission together. We did it, kids graduated, but just that community that has been fostered for the past 52 years, it was shaky for a while. And that's when Dorothy came on to lead the school, and she has stood strong. And the relief that was evident in her body on opening day, I'm going to say this, it's going to be recorded for all to remember, but Dorothy was recruited by UT to be a cheerleader, and I did not know that until opening day, and it was like I was waiting for the backflip. She just was so happy we were all together, and to have made it through such a really tough time and to come out with all of these enthusiastic faculty members and students, and we're all together. It's like the dream that Bob Moore had, in 1968 before the school was founded, like, we're going to make this happen. And so that was a really rough time in the 60s. Out of that came this beautiful school. And I feel like that's where we are now. I really genuinely mean this, like the funds that Impact 100 gave us really girded us, gave us what we needed so that we could get through that tough time. We know the tough times aren't over. But just knowing that someone was out there and cared enough to put money there, specifically there to help us, means so much to our well-being, to the well-being of the school. It made a really big difference.
Thanks, Laura. This is being recorded, so I won't go into too much details, but one of my high-performing student children had struggled a lot with mental health. So it really spoke to me, what y'all do. And I'm just curious, so when you're bringing people in for the mental health support, because it's not yet in-house, right? Because you're still outsourcing, how is that person available to students? Are there a couple days when she's on campus? Is it as needed? Because I know they don't have the luxury of being able to walk in or walk over in the same way they would once you're able to get somebody on staff.
Right.
Yes, Dr. Johnson in the Toolkit project, all of our sessions are via telephone or via Zoom conferencing or Google Meet. The thing about Dr. Johnson is she gives Chinquapin students priorities after hours. So after their school days, she will schedule sessions when they are not, and when it's not going to impact them academically. And those sessions are scheduled with students individually, and she will schedule them all the way up into the evenings, even on weekends, just to make sure that our students' needs are being met. So she's available for the students far beyond the capacity of what we would have with any other organization. She's made Chinquapin a top priority. For us, when Dr. Johnson and I have had conversations, the main thing that we kept wanting to focus on is getting rid of the stigma about being able to see a counselor and being proactive about mental health help. And so the idea that we are focusing on intervention and implementation so that in order to help students navigate whenever they're having mental health crises, that's really, really important to us. And so it's a term that we really focus on of do you have the tools when readily available so that when there is something that you are struggling with, that the first thing you do is reach into your tool bag versus panicking. And so Dr. Johnson has done an amazing job and continues to support Chinquapin students far beyond what our contract says. And so we're really so appreciative of having her on the team.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Everybody's very quiet today. Anything else you all would like to share?
No, just again, thanks so much for the opportunity to give you a progress report on where we are as a school community and how we've used the funds that Impact 100 has given us, and just the space to share with you about Chinquapin. I guess the other thing that you can do for Chinquapin is when you're out at cocktail parties or, hanging out at the park with your kids, I don't know how old your kids are, or kvetching because they're not hanging out with you anymore, tell people about Chinquapin. We really need as many people to know about us, that we really don't want to be that hidden jewel that, oh, I think maybe I've heard about you somewhere. Tell people what we are. If, there are misconceptions about what Chinquapin is, you know what Chinquapin is. You know that we have a 100% graduation rate, 100% college acceptance rate, and that's just unheard of for the kids who, you know, come from these 59 zip codes where their schools earn a D and an F. So we're really proud of our track record. We're really proud of our school, and we'd love for other people to know about it.
Yes, and please come and visit. Bring groups of people, schedule, you know, different tours, and just come to visit us. We'd love to host you and to have you on campus. And then you can actually meet some of our students and get into the fabric of our community. So we would love to have you.
Thank you for that invitation. If I'd love to make that happen, especially because I know that last year people were unable to meet in person. They weren't able to visit the nonprofits. So we should make it a priority to make that happen, because I know our members would love to see the campus.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all so much. I hope you have, I hope it doesn't rain too much more today, although I know we need it, just no flooding. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you
you.
so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.